Buy me, cowboy. I will make sure you are happy.
"Buy me, cowboy. I will make sure you are happy," said the Apache woman for sale. These words left her mouth with a calmness that made everyone who heard it feel uncomfortable. Not because she promised fun, but because her words showed control. When she said, "Buy me, cowboy, I will make sure you are happy," the street went very quiet. Even the toughest men felt something bad hiding just below the surface. Her name was Zara, but the people did not know it and did not try to ask. The rope above her wrist felt hot against her skin, which had known only open land and free choices before. She stood straight against the post, shoulders back, head high. She would not let this bad moment change how she stood, because she knew that self-respect was the last thing they had not taken. Around her, faces showed they were judging her and wanting her. Some were clearly mean, some were quietly joining in. She saw that the quiet ones were often the worst because their silence helped the bad system more surely than being mean ever could. The traitor spoke loudly, saying her worth was high in rough ways. He talked about her willingness to obey as if it were a good thing, not something she had lost. But his voice became unimportant. Zara focused on the one man who had stepped forward differently. The cowboy held money, but his eyes did not look at her body right away, which she had learned to expect. Instead, they met hers quickly and then stayed, not with desire, but with confusion. It was as if something about her being there broke a story he had believed all his life. That moment of waiting was small, but Zara had learned that staying alive often needed her to use small chances before they closed. She did not say her words again or make them softer. Saying them again would make her plan seem like a show, and she was done putting on a show of pain for others to watch. The crowd became restless, wanting things to end, wanting to see power used in the ways they knew. She knew that time was pushing her. Her arms hurt, her shoulders burned, yet she held still. She focused on her breathing and her memories, telling herself that lasting was not the same as giving up. Zara and the cowboy have just started moving away. The street watched them with a feeling of worry that was almost fear, because what they saw did not have a clear end. Zara could feel eyes on her back. She could feel the stories already starting, some angry, some laughing, some changed completely. And she understood that staying alive now needed more than just getting away. She walked next to the cowboy, not behind him, carefully watching each step and each moment of quiet. She knew that the freedom given by one man could still be taken by many others. If this story of Zara's strength is touching your heart, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales that celebrate courage. Now let's get back to the road ahead for Zara and Eli. As the noise of the town grew quieter behind them, Zara looked at what was ahead, not as a dream of safety, but as a series of decisions she would have to make carefully and truthfully. The words she had spoken at the post still repeated in her mind, not as a shame, but as proof that even language could be used as a weapon. She knew that whatever happened next would need the same care. The story had not stopped or started over. It had simply moved to a new place, carrying the weight of what had been said and the things that could not be undone. The road went forward simply, and Zara liked that, because big exits often had the same traps as big entrances. She had learned that real freedom rarely calls attention to itself. The space between her and the cowboy stayed planned as they walked, not stiff with distrust, but balanced with awareness. It was a space shaped by both of them being careful, not by fear. She saw how he changed his walking speed to match hers without talking about it, how he kept his hands where she could see them, how he never tried to fill the silence by giving her easy words. That would have been more for his comfort than hers. Silence felt honest this way. It let Zara listen to her own thoughts as they slowly set themselves straight after being held captive. She let go of habits made to survive in small spaces and learned again how to be without always thinking about danger. When Eli finally said his name, he did it simply,
as if giving a fact instead of something to be admired or forgiven. She accepted it with a nod, not saying her name right away, because trust, like freedom, was something she preferred to give out slowly. As they traveled, talking happened in small pieces, never forced. It showed parts of lives shaped by different kinds of hardship. Zara talked about her loss without making it sound bigger, not as a plea for pity, but as a background detail. She explained how words could be used as tools, how the sentence she spoke at the post was not meant to invite ownership, but to show it, to make the listener face their own desire and choose if they would act on it. Eli listened without breaking in, without trying to make her experiences seem easier or make them about himself. That self-control mattered because it allowed her to stay the writer of her own story instead of being a character rewritten by his thoughts. In return, he spoke of small ways he had compromised, following rules that kept him safe but hurt others, and times when doing nothing felt easier than choosing to fight back. He did not ask for forgiveness, and she did not offer it, because understanding did not need forgiveness to be helpful.
As the land changed into a place where roads met and people passed through quickly, Zara felt the worry she had carried start to lessen. Not because danger was gone, but because choice had returned. Eli stopped there, not in a big way, but with a quiet stillness that showed he meant it. He told her she could go anywhere she wanted. He said the money he spent bought nothing from her and never would. There were no hidden rules under his words, no things he expected without saying. The clearness of that moment felt heavy, because freedom given without a big show left no room for acting. Zara looked at him, not to test if he was true, but to check if he was consistent. When she found he was, she accepted the moment as finished. She gave him her name then, not as thanks, but as acknowledgement, openly taking it back without fear of it being stolen. She told him that what he had done only mattered if he kept making good choices because of it. She said stories like hers did not need to be saved, but needed to be told carefully, because changing the story was another way to cause harm. Then she turned away, picking her direction with the same care she had used to survive her captivity. She stepped forward without looking back, trusting her decision enough to not need reassurance. As she blended into the flow of others, her presence did not disappear. It spread out, carried forward in the way she stood, in her voice, in the quiet certainty of someone who had regained the power to choose and planned to use it. Eli watched her vanish and felt the weight of the meeting settle inside him, not as pride or guilt, but as responsibility. He knew that staying silent after this would make him a part of the problem again. The fight he had started would mean nothing if it concluded with that single act. In the days that followed, he told the story carefully, taking away the drama, refusing to let it become fun or a myth, presenting it instead as a moment where a woman refused to break and forced a bad system to hesitate. He did not put himself in the middle. He did not make his part sound bigger, and those who listened felt uncomfortable, not from shock, but from seeing themselves in the story. The story lasted because it did not tell people what to do. It invited them to think, asking listeners to look at their own silences and the comfort they felt in distance. Zara kept going, not as a symbol frozen in one act of fight, but as a living person shaped by her intention. She carried her experience not as a wound to show off, but as knowledge to be used. She built her life again carefully, choosing friends wisely, speaking when it counted, and being quiet when it did not. She understood that just staying alive was not the goal if it did not lead to self-rule. The story ended not with a final answer, but with continuation, living on through those who chose to stay connected to stories that respected smartness and bravery. Stories that did not flatter the listener, but trusted them to stay present, to come back, and to carry forward what they had been given without being asked. And that is where Zara's journey continues. Thank you for listening to this story of courage. I hope it gives you something to think about. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and please tell me again, where are you listening from? And what time is it for you on this Christmas Day? I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a safe, Happy New Year. See you in the next story.